I want to welcome everybody to this Sabbath meeting. We have two studies today. Let's open with the word of prayer. Holy God, we thank you for welcoming us in your presence. As we are together with friends and family, we thank you that you have blessed us and allowed us to be here. As we try to get answers to our questions, pray that you would be with me and also with the people here, so that together we might come to a clearer understanding of your word. In Jesus' name, amen. It's been a busy year. A lot of material has gone out since we last met, which was quite some time ago now. I hope you've all been blessed by the presentations that have been done by the 5 speakers on the Sunday law subject. And that you've been able to keep up with the presentations that I've been doing. What tends to happen when I present in fact when anybody presents, is that material needs to be gone over repeatedly and reviewed. The material needs to be reviewed continuously in order to get a clearer understanding. And I think it's important, I hope you all agree, that a particular study or a message is repeated by different people, so that as a movement collectively we can get a broader, more comprehensive understanding of that subject. And that's one of the reasons why we've got so many people speaking about the same subject. Despite that, it still is the reality that people's questions have not been answered. So I've received some questions. If you already know the answer to some of these points, Please help me and the others. I hope we can all participate today. So that we can be blessed together. So, first question. Can I re-explain what the eighth kingdom is? So, I don't know if that question was in relation to last week's study here in France. Or it's just a broader question about Revelation 17. And I know this question got addressed earlier today in the Sabbath school. So I'm not claiming that that I have some deep insight that others don't have on the subject. If you do still have any lingering questions, please bring them up now. So that we can all collectively be helped. So, maybe it might be good to start by looking at the number 8. I assume we all know that words in inspiration have symbolic meaning. The more you study, the more you come to that realization. Now we know that in our modern languages, there have been many words that have been added to Scripture. They've been added to make the transition from the original language to your own language more simple. So that we can get a better understanding of the intent of the original author. But in doing so, those extra words can hide or cloud the truth. So part of our job is to try to tease out or to understand, to find those original words and ideas. And I would contend that all of those original words have some kind of symbolic meaning. They still do. And we have to look at those words and separate them from the words that are put together to understand the grammar. So, the number 8. Who has some thoughts on what the number 8 means or represents? We're asking this question because the number 8 in Revelation 17, when it speaks about a kingdom, was not a random number. If you believe it to be random, then you have no basis to be able to decode inspiration. So I believe it's correct to approach the subject with an understanding or a perspective that it has some meaning. It's not just a number that came after 7 and is before 9. I don't know how we're doing the microphone. Okay, so who wants to share what they think the number 8 means? And when you give your answer, if you can either give a Bible verse or the story. Who wants to have a go? It's relatively easy. Who's put your hands up clearly next time so that we.
Please can I ask a small question before answering that? Why you said take it as a special number? Like from the chat, why do we do that as opposed to like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Like why don't we treat it like all the others?
I guess what I was trying to say is that we should treat it like all others. And all the others have some kind of symbolic meaning. Some we understand, some we don't. And the ones we do understand, some we understand better and some we don't.
Okay. In answer to your question, circumcision came to my mind with regards to Abraham coming to circumcise Isaac. And it says that they did that on the 8th day. I can't remember the verse.
So circumcision is on the 8th day. So I'll put Leviticus, which isn't a story about Abraham directly, but so someone's going to give us Genesis 24? So I know the mic got taken away prematurely because I wanted to ask what circumcision meant. But we'll move to Isleen.
Mais on va avancer à Isaline.
For circumcision? Yes. So tell me what. Oh, you've got to do it in French. So tell me what circumcision means.
Has several meanings. As a symbol, it's an alliance. God. And practically, I think we all know.
So practically we all know. What don't I know?
We cut the foreskin of the firstborn, I think,
Why?
of all males. It's like a sign of belonging.
So a sign of belonging. Yeah? So that's what circumcision is for you. Is it Natasha? Oh.
Of an alliance with God. Sign of an alliance with God. So I think of the sacrifice of expiation. Et c'est quel Lévitique? In Leviticus 9, where God asks Moses to sacrifice a calf and a ram for an holocaust.
So sacrifice. On the 8th day. And it's Leviticus. I didn't get the verse.
9 verse 9.
9:9. And what does that mean?
So it's removing sin, it's a sacrifice.
So it's a removal of sin. Anyone else? I think it's who is it? Is it Tamina or?
Yep.
Go ahead.
I was gonna go for resurrection. Resurrection. And the story as a proof. What was his name again? The ark, where 8 people survived.
Resurrection is. Are you given 2 separate things? What resurrection was what?
Excuse me. Christ resurrected on the 8th day.
And what does that mean? Or is it?
New life, but more glorious.
Thank you. Who's next? Okay.
So I wanted to come back on the meaning of circumcision. I have a text. Romans 4, 10 and 11. Mm-hmm.
Just do it in your own words instead of reading the verse.
So in the text, it It says that the sign of circumcision is a seal, the seal of righteousness. So as Iselin was saying earlier, it's a sign of belonging, but also a state of being when we talk about righteousness.
Thank you. Any more? No others? Okay, so I think someone already mentioned this one, Noah. And there's 8 people. What does that mean? Second Peter 2:5. Curtis?
It's associated with the flood. And then I'm going to make another step to say a flood is associated with the Sunday law.
Anyone else?
Also, Isaiah had 8 sons. And David was the 8th one, whose meaning is beloved.
Who had 8 sons, the name?
Isaiah.
So you give me 2 stories.
No, David is Isaiah's 8th son. He has 8 sons, and the last one, his name is David.
Any else? Anyone?
So just coming back to 2 Peter 2:5, it's mentioned here salvation. It says that Noah was the 8th person to be saved.
So we have salvation. Okay, one more, if we have one more.
So I think of Sunday as being the 8th day of the week, but I haven't found any verse for it.
So I think that's the same as resurrection that Tamina gave. because that resurrection was on Sunday. Yeah? Does anybody have a reference for this, the one that David gave us? Isaiah, 8 sons? Why are you doing that? Josiah? He's 8 years old when he begins to reign. Someone can tell us what that means? And then we'll stop there. Iselin?
So I don't want to give a verse for it, but I want to go back to the Sunday one. I was thinking of the 8th day of the week, story of Constantine, all of that was Sunday.
Référence pour le 8e fils, c'est 1 Samuel 16, versets 10 et suite. 1 Samuel 16.
So you're connecting this to...
Attends, pardon, excuse-moi. Vas-y.
Je dis avec l'adoration d'un autre Dieu,
So I connect this with the worship of another god and submission to other laws.
So can I put change of purpose or use? Sunday is the usage or the purpose of Sunday has changed. Okay, all good, everybody? So, if you take all of these thoughts, we've got circumcision, sacrifice, resurrection, Noah, Isaiah, and Josiah. Let's come up with a couple of bullet points to understand what the number 8 is a symbol. A new beginning? Belonging?
Change of changement of state, change of form.
Change of form? Was that from resurrection?
Yes.
Sunday law? Begins to rain? So we'll go with that. Let's turn to Revelation 17. So I assume by now, because we've been studying this subject a lot this year, so you need to put your hands up if you don't know or if you don't agree. So, because I'm assuming most people do know and most people do agree with what I'm about to say. So if you don't know or you don't agree, just put your hands up. So when we turn to Revelation 17, we find a beast, and this beast has 7 heads. So I presume everybody's okay with that. That's verse 3. 7 heads. And if you were to go to Revelation 12 and 13, even though the name of the animal is different, in both chapters you have an animal that has 7 heads. Everybody, so if you're not okay with that or you're not sure, put your hands up, otherwise I assume you're all good. So we discussed Revelation 12, and we also discussed Revelation 13. And we have a beast with 7 heads and 10 horns in 3 chapters. So I don't know how you handle, if I can use the word methodology, I don't know how you handle symbols. What rules or methods you use. So we have a dragon, we have a beast that's in the sea, and we have a red beast or a scarlet beast. Despite those different descriptors of those 3 animals, because they've all got 7 heads and 10 horns, I believe that they're the same animal. They're all descriptions of the same thing. So if we had Revelation 12, 13, 17, and I was to say they are the same thing or entity, then we would describe this as a repeat and enlarge. So no one's putting their hand up, so everybody agrees with that. If you don't agree, yeah. Because I'm assuming we've done this so many times, I think most people would all agree with that. So the first thing I want us to see is that there's only 7. We haven't quite defined what a head is, but there's only 7 of them. So that's where we would get our foundational thoughts or concepts from. When you go to each of the chapters, they tell you something slightly different. So Revelation 17 is important for several reasons. So we're looking at the 7 heads. We'll put the horns to one side. In the context of the heads, why is Revelation 17 significant? We need to translate a mic, sorry.
In Apocalypse 17, it talks about a woman on the beast.
Okay, anyone else? I've sent you on a sort of a little bit of a distraction because you can see the same thing in chapter 13 as well, but we'll do 13 in a second.
I have the feeling that it allows us to know where we are, to locate ourselves.
Okay? Last point. Natasha?
It's the only chapter that talks about an 8th head.
Okay. So I want to suggest that in Revelation 17, we'll see in 13 too, we can see that the heads are sequential. You can show that they come one after another. And if you're going to study about this beast, these chapters, you need to be sure on that. That the heads run sequentially. So we're not going to go to the verse in 17 that shows that. Unless someone puts their hand up. But we're not going to go to chapter 13, but I'll give you the verse. So it's verse 3. You'll get the same idea or concept that the heads run sequentially. So when you read verses, you get a small piece of information, and from that small piece of information, you can make a much larger and broader conclusion. Not only you can, but you're required to. So, the first thing to note is that the heads run sequentially, one after another. And that tells you that these stories run over a period of time. So, we know that those 7 heads cover a period of history. So we're not going to prove this. But speaking prophetically or symbolically, what would you think the number 7 would represent? So Tamina says complete. For shortness of time, we'll go with that. So if we understand that the number 7 is complete, it really deserves a bit more time than I've given it, but if we go with that, then the beast covers all the history. All the history that you need to know about when it comes to the story of the great controversy. It's the complete story because it's the number 7. So the first thing you can do to answer the question about number 8, just from that idea of what the number 7 would mean, can you have a number 8? Could you have an 8th thing? No? So the consensus is no, just by using the symbolic meaning of 7. Because the 7 has to come to completion or the end. So I hope we can all visualize that or conceptualize that idea. Just by taking the symbolic meaning of words, you know that there cannot be an 8th kingdom following the 7th. So that's our first argument, which you've done without looking at any verses. So most people are going to turn to Revelation 17:11. Most people will turn there first. We didn't do that. And hopefully, as I've explained it, you can see why. So I'll read the verse. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. So the first thing to notice here, I think, after we've established 2 things so far, what have we established? The heads are sequential, and there's only 7. And the last one has to be the 7th. So they're the things that we've already established. When you read this verse carefully, what you'll notice is it mingles 2 ideas or concepts. Does anybody want to comment on that? Sorry? If I explain what I'm trying to tease out, I guess I'd end up giving the answer. I don't think the verse makes sense as you read it in the English.
Les 2 concepts dont tu parles, c'est la vie et la mort, peut-être?
No, maybe the 2 concepts you're talking about is life and death.
No. Okay, so I'll answer my own question because no one's going to. How many heads are there? There's 7 heads. We can put 8 in parenthesis. How many beasts? One beast. Okay, so if we're all clear on that, we'll go to verse 11. The beast that was, I'm going to add a word, was alive and is not, I'm going to say is dead. He is the 8th. So what does that say? Just by a surface reading, how many beasts do you have? Someone said 1. And any options besides 1? Okay, so who is the he? I know in French it might be different. I apologize. Who's the he halfway through the verse? Someone said the beast. Are we okay? That it's the beast? So it says the beast is what? The 8th, it says, yes? So the beast is the 8th. So how can the beast be the 8th? The 8th what? Muriel? We'll do a translation on it.
Head.
Head?
Eighth head.
So the beast is the 8th head. Everybody okay with that? Is this the first time we get the number 8? Because we just sort of slipped in head there. Muriel just slipped the word head into that story. They didn't say any head. She just slipped it in. Everybody okay with so far? You okay to still call it a head? From logic, I guess you're going to use? Sorry.
Starting from verse 9 to 10, but especially verse 9.
Okay, so I'll back up to verse 9. The 7 heads, the 7 mountains. And then he swaps to the term king. 7 kings. 5 are dead. One is alive and one isn't here yet. And then into verse 11. So can you tie those pieces together, Muriel? You brought that all together? You said we have to go back to verse 9, which I did.
Well, to understand what the beast of verse 11 means, I went back to verse 9 to understand that 7 heads are also 7 kings. Verse 10 then develops what the 7 kings are. 7 kingdoms.
So, who's going to try to explain how you get one beast, seven heads, and then also the beast is a head? Does it say the beast is a head? It doesn't say that? Some people say yes, some people say no. I thought in verse 11 it says, the beast is the eighth head, the eighth king. So, are we okay with that? So the beast is a head, is the head. A head. And there's 7 heads. Maybe 8. But there's only one beast. Are all the heads the same thing? Or are they different? Because this morning, I think they actually got listed out. Are the heads the same or different? I've got different. Go get the mic, Muriel? Maybe just keep the mic.
They are different, but they represent kingdoms.
So they're different kingdoms. Are we okay with? They're actually different. Babylon, Media, Persia, they're very different. One's in the Middle East, one's in the New World, in the Americas. So are we all okay that they're different? Different kings. Okay, so if they're different kings, it says the beast is the head. So do you have 7 beasts? Or just the one beast? So how do you get one beast with 7 different heads? Have a go, Curtis.
In Slovakia, you demonstrated a concept, a model, and you spoke about how a story can be a panoramic view or a dispensational one. So if you look at the panoramic view, i.e. the story from beginning to end, you would see one beast. But as you start breaking up that panoramic view into different dispensations, you could see the beast being represented in different eras, in different heads. The beast in dispensational views will be represented through different heads.
Just tell me when you're finished.
Yeah, finish.
So if you see what's on the board, panoramic view, one beast. If you still got the mic. So I stopped there because that's where you stopped. How many heads on that first line? One beast, panoramic view.
7.
7 heads. That's what Miriam said. Okay? In the dispensational view, you left that blank. How many heads? How many beasts?
1.
So this is dispensation 1. And you go all the way down to 7. How many beasts?
1, 1,
How many heads?
1.
So is this head in number 1 the same as the same? Is it the same head as number 7?
No, because as we demonstrated earlier, there's a sequential.
The beast in this dispensation, is it the same beast as number 7? It's not the same head. Is it the same beast?
No.
Joanna, are you okay with that? Curtis is going to give you 7 beasts. I helped him to do that. Or forced him. Why is it the same beast, Joanna?
Because for me, in the panoramic view, there's only one beast.
Yeah. But we're not in that view. We're in the dispensational one now.
Yes, but you asked if the beast was the same through every dispensation.
Are the heads the same?
The heads are not the same, no.
So if the head is not the same, would the beast be the same or would the beast be different? If you got head number 1, would you have beast number 1, head number 7, beast number 7? So the difficulty with this is that you have to take these 2 models and hold them at the same time. So it's completely correct to say that there are 7 beasts, each having one head that looks very different. But we also need to understand that it's a singular entity. I'm going to say remember, but we haven't really remembered anything. So I'm just going to say, give it to you. When you have an animal, the bit that's controlled, that's doing the control in the animal is the head. Your feet don't control you, the head does. So if it's a different head, it would infer that it's a different beast. So that's why they would be different. But when you look at it from a panoramic view, it wants to teach you that it's the same. Curtis, you had your hand up.
Ate? Okay. Hopefully this doesn't confuse the point you're trying to make. But in that dispensational view, there's a time when, as we read, that beast is dead. But the head is still, I'll just say, alive. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you saying that as an observation?
I'm saying that as an observation.
So I think often we don't pay enough attention to that portion of the story. Does everybody know what head number that is? 6, everybody? 6? Put your hands up if you didn't know it's 6 or you don't agree. So there's some complication when you get to head number 6. All good? Repeat. When you get to head number... My question was, when the beast is dead, it says that in Revelation 10 and 11, 5 are fallen, 1 is, and 1 is not yet alive or come. Question I asked was, when that beast is dead, and that is found in verse 11, not 10. Are we all okay? It's number 6. Because you get that from verse 10. But what it seems to do, it seems to get, it's going to tie this beast to the heads. So even though there's a singular beast, you get this idea that this beast is going through history with the heads. And the most complicated one out of all of them is that you have a head. Is the head alive? Head number 6, is it alive? When it enters into history. Put your hands up if you say no. 5 came and went, and now we're in 6. Is it alive or dead, the head? So everybody agrees it's alive. So let's do the parallel to the beast. Head number 5, there's a beast, and that beast is the fifth beast. It's got a head, a new head. I think we all agree that the head is alive. Is the beast alive? Fifth beast, the fifth beast. When it's got the fifth head. Yes? Yeah, we all agree now? Okay. When you get to number 6, if the sixth head is alive, verse 10, 1 is, the 6 is alive. Is the beast alive? Does everybody agree no? The beast is dead and the head is alive. So this is the complication that we have. So we have 7 dispensations, and we have a head and a beast. And we do that 7 times. And this beast is alive. I'll put A for alive. I'll put L for living. L for living. And you see the same thing all through these stories. Because even though it doesn't state it explicitly, that's the natural order. If you've got a living head, you'd expect it to be connected to a living body. So we have a living head, number 6, and the body is dead. And then when you get to 7, it repeats to the same pattern again. So the question is, how do we know the beast is dead? Who wants to try to answer that? Who wants to try to answer why, besides Curtis? Vivian, should we have a go? I'll repeat the question, yeah. So, how do we know in the history of the 6th that the beast is dead? I just stated it as a fact. How do we know? So I'll go with Vivian first and then Miriam. Okay, we'll go to Miriam first then. And we'll go to, Miriam's going to be English. So we'll go to Miriam and then we'll go to Joanna.
Maybe because the part of the history we are on, between the 5th and the 6th, it's where the beast had the shooting. I mean, the wound. So.
So the beast has a deadly wound, you say?
Yeah. At the end of the 5th, so in the 6th is.
Okay.
À la fin du 5e.
So I've got a deadly wound. Who's speaking?
So the beast died because all the ones before that had this church and state union. And when we reach the 6, they don't have that church and state union.
Okay. Joanne, did you want to say something?
So she has a question, but she doesn't want to answer it.
She has a question.
Yeah.
Ask your question.
It's a bit complicated for me. And I would like you to correct me if I'm wrong, but verse 10, does it talk about the heads? And verse 11 talks about the beast?
Do you have any thoughts on it?
Shimon?
I can just answer if you don't have any thoughts yourself.
No, she doesn't have any thoughts.
I think verse 10 is talking about heads, and verse 11 is talking about the beast. Okay, so I have a question then. Verse 10, it says, 5 are fallen, 1 is, and 1 is not yet come. I said that means 5 are dead. Fallen, I took it to mean dead. I don't know if we all agree with that. So before you make a comment then, because it might be bigger, then I said 1 is, and then 1 isn't here yet. So the one that is, I've got L here for alive, living. So is that correct? So that's part of the question. In verse 11, it says the beast that was, I added the word alive, and is not, I used the word alive, and then the rest of it is, you can just skip it. So so I put dead here. So Revelation 17, 10 and 11, is it correct to say that the head is alive and that the beast is dead? And this is the history of 6. Does everybody understand what I've done? Everybody understood? You don't understand, Muriel, or you got a point? You got a question? Okay, so before you ask your question, I want to turn us to another chapter. We'll go to Revelation 13, and we'll go to verse 3. So in Revelation verse 13:3, it says, a head is killed. Do you agree? Is that what it say? Head is killed? You okay with that? Okay. So, according to Revelation 13, one of those 7 heads is dead. And the way we've currently got it, in Revelation 17, none of the heads are dead. Okay. So, Muriel, go ahead and ask your question. And then Curtis. Or make your point. Sure?
Yeah, so I just wanted to make a point. So for me to parallel the heads and the beast, I look at the times of the verbs used. Meaning that in verse 10, we're talking about the past, present, and future. Past, present, and future. For the head. And we have the same pattern used for the beast. And so we can associate the numbers that go with it, the numbers of heads. So it's 5 in the past, 6 in the present, 7 in the future, and it should be the same for the beast, 5, 6, 7. And with this model, we can see that the head is present in 6, but not the beast.
When you use the word present, do you mean alive? So, when we've got...
In terms of tense, it's present as in it's right now.
So, I've got present intense, I understand that. So I think I asked, is the head, I think you said the head is, no, I don't know who said, is the head alive in numbers in the present tense? Is the head alive in the present tense of dispensation 6? So you're saying it's alive, which is what I had put here. And is the beast alive or dead?
Dead.
Okay.
Because the verse says is not.
So what you've got is the same thing that I have here. Is that right? Okay, so you agree with that graphic? We've just done it, we've done the same thing. Okay, anything else? Curtis? Oh, sorry. Curtis can't remember. Who wants to go to have a look at 13.3? Because it says the head is dead. So, I'm going to make a guess. Which head number do you think is dead in chapter 13? fifth head? Okay. Does everybody agree with Miriam? She says the fifth head is dead. You all okay with that? So, 3. So one of the heads was dead and it was going to be healed. So, does 13:3 cause any problems to us? Everybody okay? Okay. So this is number 5. And it says it's wounded to death. And the wound will be healed. So if we put all of that together, we're here on the graphic, Revelation 13:3. It says that head was killed. So when there's Revelation 13:3, what dispensation is that in? Past, present, or future? Past? Is the past? Put your hands up if it's in the past. I know we've run out of time. Put your hands up, Miriam. You passed. Past? Put your hands up if we're in the present. We're in the present or the past? Show us, Muriel, why we're in the present.
We are in the present because the 6 is alive. J'ai pas compris.
How do you know that in Revelation 13?
Because there's a wound, because the 5th received the wound.
How do you know it's the 5th that receives the wound? How do you know it was number 5, not number 6? Miriam stated as a fact, I accepted it, but how do you know? Yeah?
Because we know that the one who received the power, seat, and authority of the dragon was 5th.
Okay?
So it's the 5th who received the deadly wound.
Okay? I think. How about this? Past, present, and future. We'll make a big jump because we've made lots of assumptions. In Revelation 17, where are you in the past, present, or future?
Sorry, in Apocalypse 17?
Just tell me if we're in the past, present, or future. According to what's on the graphic.
Today, from today.
According to what's on the graphic.
In the graphic.
Past, present, or future.
Yeah, but I don't understand.
You understand my question? Is this?
1798.
No, I just want to know past, present, or future.
Oh, it's in the past.
In the past? So we're in the 5th dispensation in Revelation 17. Revelation 17, we're in the 5th. Yep. Okay. Revelation 13.
As it talks about a wound, we can.
Just give me the number. Just tell me 5, 6, or 7. Past, present, or future.
I think it's the same. It refers to the same thing, the same wound.
So Miriam says we're in the 5th dispensation in both chapters. Just shout the numbers out, Muriel. 6. And chapter 13? You don't know? Curtis? Okay, so we can see we're looking at this slightly differently. What's the date for here? 1798. So if we're in 1798, which is the transition from the past to the present, if you go to chapter 13, where are we standing in history there? In the 6th. In the present. So it's not that. So we all agree that chapter 17 and 13 we're in the 6th dispensation. Okay, we'll stop there. I think that's a convenient place to stop. Let's close with prayer. If I've got time, I'll recap. I prefer to recap. Okay, so we're looking at the 8th head. People are not sure what that is. I said, I'll say it as a statement, but don't take it literally. All words from inspiration have symbolic meaning. Seven is complete, 8 is new. And that new that's connected to the number 8 is in connection with a resurrection. So it's the same thing that goes from the old to the new. A child was alive, and now the same child has a new purpose. Based upon that alone, you can't have more than 7 heads. The last one has to be the number 7. So, we then looked at the chapter. We went to verses 9, 10, and 11. Before we did that, we connected chapter 12, 13, and 17. You do that so that you can borrow information from other chapters to help you understand the 17. So repeat and enlarge. We then saw that in chapter 17, you have two perspectives, a panoramic perspective and a dispensational perspective. We saw we have 7 heads and 7 beasts. And the wording seems to indicate when you get to the 6th dispensation, you have a living head and a dead body. That's what people have stated. When you go to chapter 13, there's a head that's killed which you can show is the 5th head. And what's important to understand, that in chapter 13 and 17, we're in the dispensation which chapter 17 calls the present. And the present begins in 1798. In 1798, you can look to the past and you can look to the future. And this is the 6th dispensation, or the history of the 6th head. In our next study, we'll tie these ideas together. And let's just tidy up the issue of what it's speaking about when it refers to the 8th head. Let's pray. Holy God, we thank you that you can teach us if we're willing to learn. We thank you that we can come to a clearer understanding of your word. And therefore of your will. May your will be ours. In Jesus' name. Amen.